Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Balabha Giribharadhari. Gopijana Balabha Giribharadhari. Gopijana Balabha Giribharadhari. Yashodanandana Jajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Asto Tarashata Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Asto Tarashata Srimad, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonan. Chapter 14, Brahma's Prayers to Lord Krishna, text number 19. Ajanatantva padavin adatmani atmatmana bhashibitatyamajam sristvāivāham jagato vidhana iva tvameshunta iva trinetra Ajanatantva padavin anatmani atmatmana bhasibitatyamajam srishtva ibaham jagato vidhana Iva tvam esham taiva trinetra Ajanatantva padabin anatmani Atma mana bhasibitatyamajam Srishta viham jagato vidhana Iva tvameshotam Iva tam eshanta Iva trinetra. Please chant. Ajanatam, to persons who are ignorant, who are in ignorance. Tvapadavim, of your transcendental position. Anatmani, in the material energy. Atma, yourself. Atmana, by yourself. Bhasi, appear. Vitatya, expanding. Mayam, your inconceivable energy. Sristau, in the matter of creation. Eva, as if. Aham, I, Brahma, Jagataha, of the universe, Vidhane, in the maintenance, Eva, as if, Twan Eshaha, yourself, Ante, in the annihilation, Eva, as if, Trinetraha, Lord Shiva. Translation and purport by the humble disciples of Srila Prabhupada. To persons ignorant of your actual transcendental position, you appear as part of the material world, manifesting yourself by the expansion of your inconceivable energy. Thus, for the creation of the universe, you appear as me, Brahma. For its maintenance, you appear as yourself, Vishnu. And for its annihilation, you appear as Lord Trinetra, Shiva. Purport. Although the impersonal Mayavadi philosophers think that the demigods are illusory, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu are stated here to be expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and are thus real. Indeed, they are the extraordinary powerful controllers of the universe. The ultimate truth is a supreme and beautiful person, and thus, throughout the creation of God, we will always find the personal touch. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Romapada Swami Iti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Shatarine. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. So Prabhupada explains, Srila Prabhupada's followers in the commentary explains that it is clear. Can you, number 2, just bring it down a little bit? Thank you. It is very clear that that ultimately, behind this whole cosmic manifestation, there is the personal touch. Prabhupada gives us this understanding in a very simple way. When we are just simply by observation, put aside philosophy, faith, religion, everything, and just by common sense, just by observing the quality of this whole cosmic manifestation, then we can naturally, like it says here in the purple, always find the personal touch. There have to be a person behind. There have to be this personal touch behind everything. When we see order, Srila Prabhupada explains, when we see order, the universe is perfectly ordered. When there is order, there's naturally, one can infer that there is intelligence behind order. It is explained, Prabhupada explains, that when we come into a space and we experience that the place is very nicely organized, then naturally one infers, oh, there is some nice people here. There is actually, it gives me, there is a good vibration here, and you always relate that to, there must be some really good people here. So, there is no such a thing of experience of this perfect order that happens without personal touch, without the presence of an individual or individuals. There is no such experience that order happens by chance. So, simply by observation, we can conclude that there is a supreme intelligence behind order. And intelligence is not something, intelligence is a quality of an individual. So the personal touch is there. We've been given the example of Sir Isaac Newton, that by his intelligence, he was able to conclude that there is a supreme intelligence, there is God. So his conclusion of the source of this whole universe, he understood that is by design, that this universe was created by a supreme intelligence. Yeah, that the source is a supreme intelligence. So it's by design that is like that. That the order is by design. And he was trying to establish that to all his colleagues at that time. And of course we know that during this period of historical period in this world, there was a rampant rise of atheism. So there was so many of these theories of how this world came about, and most of them were atheistic. So we had this big position, the position of faith, that was the universe was created by God, and then science, that the universe came by chance, that there is no God, there is no creation, there is no creation by a supreme being. And Sir Isaac Newton was trying to establish is actually, you have to conclude that just by observing. How can you miss it like that? It's just in front of your eyes when you observe. And they dismiss him. So he said, okay. So he went to prove them wrong. And the way he did was that he created this model, mechanical model of the solar system with the planets, so it was a mechanical model. It was very, very fantastically done. So there was the planets going this way and that way, and the moons and the whole thing, and circling around this, the whole model. He made this model, mechanical model. And then he invited his colleagues. And when they came and they saw that beautiful model of the solar system, they were astonished, and they expressed their appreciation and asked him, how do you make it? And then he say, what? No, I didn't do anything. I didn't make it. They just came and they just saw that was, appears there. So they say, oh, come on, tell us. I mean, don't be, share the knowledge. No, I didn't make it. Oh, so eventually he says, well, here you go. Yes, I made it. But although you could not accept that this happened by itself, you immediately recognize that there was someone behind this simple model of the real thing. Now you cannot accept that the real thing has been created by a supreme intelligence. So in this way, Sir Isaac Newton defeated the scientists of that time. So it's in front of our eyes. Just simply by deeply observing nature, we can understand that there is a personal touch. So, how is that these highly intellectual, intelligent persons cannot see something that is so clear? That is something quite amazing. What is it that doesn't allow one to see something that is so clear? And as we receive, as we receive the mercy that allows us to see and understand this, like, oh, there's nothing else can make more sense than this. Then it's surprising that you see that the great majority of people, they can't properly see this. So how is that happens? What is this powerful illusion that doesn't allow to see something that obvious? And well, Krishna explains this is this Maya, this illusory energy that actually works like a curtain, like a thick curtain that doesn't allow us to see beyond. And that happens when we are influenced by this culture of ignorance, this avidya. So when that culture of ignorance is there, then we simply cannot understand because our vision and our intelligence becomes polluted. So Krishna explains that this category of people that cannot see him and understand, cannot understand that this personal aspect of the absolute truth. They're called duskritinas, and therefore nama duskritina mudha prapadyante naradama mayaja aprahita jnana asuram bhavam ashita. So there is the mudhas, which is just like basically animal type of like. It's not is described as ass-like or foolish. And when he means that, is that Prabhupada explains is that people that are simply concerned and completely and totally absorbed in only fulfilling the needs of the body, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So their intelligence doesn't go beyond that. So it's an intelligence that is no better than an animal, and specifically is compared to a donkey that works very hard for receiving for someone. Actually, in general, the donkey is a domesticated animal that works for its owner very, very hard, and to receive a handful of food or grains or grass, and that's all he knows, that he have to work hard so he can receive at the end, his little handful of grass, and then with that, have sufficient energy to pursue the their sex life with the donkey partner or whatever, a female donkey. And Prabhupada say, and then being kicked in the face. Actually, I never saw that many of the descriptions that Prabhupada gives, of these different animals. When you're growing in cities, you don't see a lot. Although, I have the chance that because my grandparents had a farm, so I saw many of these things. But some of the descriptions of Srila Prabhupada, I never saw the type of pigs that he described. And I never, that are constantly eating stool. And I never see the she donkey kicking the face of the male donkey. But remember the first time I stayed for a long period in Vrindavan, then you see all the things. you see the pigs actually eating the stool, and remember seeing the she donkey kicking the face of the male donkey. So the donkey is working so hard for that handful that is provided by its master, but the foolish animal doesn't see that he doesn't have to do that because there is plenty of grass all over the place. So he doesn't have to work that hard for being able to maintain itself. So anyway, it's a foolish. Naradama, Prabhupada explains, are people who are civilized, so-called civilized. But because they have education and they engage in activities that are prohibited by the codes of Dharma or the codes of religion, then they consider the most most abominable or most fallen of civilized people. And then there's the highly intellectual, Mayaya aprahita jnana, that their intelligence has been stolen by illusion. Although highly intelligent, then by illusion basically takes away the capacity to understand something as clear as there is a supreme behind this whole creation. The whole aspect of life comes from life and not from matter. So all these things that are so clear, so much, that by common sense one can infer that, then they just don't see. And they use their intelligence to create these very, very elaborate explanations of reality that are actually just really out there. The whole thing of the Big Bang, the origin of the species by Darwin is a huge manifesto, is a huge creation. The studies that he made and how he presented was his life work. Completely missing the point. So like that, Mayaya Prahita Jnana, this highly intelligent, they just can't see. And then there is the Asuras who are just demons, highly envious of God. So people like that cannot see. And specifically here, Lord Brahma is highlighting people who are ignorant of Krishna's transcendental position. And then they come to this Mayavadi conclusion that because what they observe is that just as I am entering this temporary world, so this manifestation of this material world is temporary, so there's no substance. So they can understand that this material manifestation is Maya. It's a product of an illusory potency because of its temporary nature. What is the verse? Nasasato, that those who are seers of the truth has understood that of the non-existence there is no endurance, and of the existence there is continuation, there's eternity. So they can understand because of its temporary nature is not substance to it. So in the same way that we enter into this material world and we take this body, this temporary body, but it doesn't, we enter in and we're taking a body, we're taking a form, a material form that is temporary and therefore consider that it have no substance, that is Maya. So they see that, so here is a form that manifests for the purpose of creation. Here's a form that manifests for the purpose of maintenance, as Lord Vishnu. Here's a form that manifests for the purpose of annihilating this manifestation, as Lord Shiva. So therefore, these are all similar forms that the one I have. It's just different levels of powers. But nevertheless, it's a form. It's a form within this material world. And then we see a form. So therefore, this form is just a form of Maya. So the Mayavadi philosophy concludes that form, beyond everything, there is the absolute, the Avyayan, the one without a second. And forms that are manifested, form means that there is a product of Maya. So therefore, they necessarily don't accept or don't or see this as lesser. So they don't understand Krishna's position. What is it? Avayananti man mudha tanusin tanun manusin tanun ashrita. They're considered foolish because they cannot see, because they misunderstand Krishna's position. And not only Krishna's position, but the position of all the avatars. They don't understand the transcendental position of the Lord. So, in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that the Monday when I quoted a couple of the verses, where he goes further to establish that, first of all, in order to be able to understand the personality of Godhead, first we have to embrace this concept that is inconceivable. His potencies are inconceivable. We have to understand, it have to be established that that the personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies. Lord Brahma goes through his prayer so far to establish that. The Lord has this, that he first recognized that he could not fully understand the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. How he can enter this world and be aloof at the same time and not being there, not being simultaneously involved and non-involved. How he is totally involved, but he is not touched ever by the material energy. He remains a controller of the material energy. So Lord Brahma established that. Krishna himself established that in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in that particular Achintya Veda Veda Tattva part of the 9th chapter. He says to Arjuna that because you're not envious, because you have faith, you are my devotee, then he can impart this most confidential knowledge, which is the king of all knowledge. He said those who have no faith, then they have no access for this. They remain caught in this cycle of birth and death. I'm going to read just how Krishna, in several verses, he brings Arjuna in a very, very succinct way to this understanding of first, we have to understand Krishna's inconceivable and transcendental position in relationship to this world. How, as Lord Vishnu, he is the maintainer and he is within this world. But as Narayan and as Krishna, the source of Lord Narayan, he is transcendental. So he is beyond this world. By me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will is annihilated at the end. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. This material nature is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rules, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Fools deride me when I descend in my human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Those who are thus bewildered and attracted by demoniac and atheistic views, in that deluded condition, the hopes for liberation, the fruitive activities, and the culture of knowledge are all defeated. So, that's ABC. We have to come to understand that. We have to come to understand, and the capacity to understand something so simple and so obvious, that is, that there's something supreme and beyond, that is a supreme being, and that supreme being has these amazing, inconceivable potencies, then one have to receive this mercy, this special favor that takes away that incapacity or that blindness or that cover that doesn't allow even highly intelligent, materially intelligent persons to remain blind to that. Often you see devotees with not necessarily the same type of material qualifications going into colleges and being able to basically present the philosophy that you were learning from Srila Prabhupada, and soundly being able to stand in front of a highly prepared professor and have a discussion face to face. And if you do your Bhakti Shastri nicely, you can easily defeat it. Srila Prabhupada is training us to totally defeat Mayavadi philosophy. We have all the ammunitions and like that. It's a mission of Srila Prabhupada, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyade Shatarine, to eliminate and to free this Western world and the world from impersonalism and voidism. So I didn't have to prepare very much for this thing, because Gajendra Moksha Prabhu have to do some travel and I have to cover last minute. And my car run out of battery today. So we have to take the train. And any comments or questions? Harishan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. You have very nicely laid out the modern landscape and the challenges that we face in trying to establish the principles of Krishna consciousness when meeting with opposition from other ways of thinking, the extremely scientific or the Mayavadi perspectives. I would like to hear your thoughts on one more group of individuals who have a hard time perceiving God in the world. And this refers to people who grow up in a very religious tradition. It doesn't matter whether it's Krishna consciousness or Christianity or Jehovah's Witnesses or whatever. And in my experience, I meet many of these young men when I'm on the streets, and many of them are atheists. So as you were pointing out, how can you look at this world and not see that there's something behind all of this, you know. It seems also that just like Mayavad, and along with science, sometimes a very, very, you could say, forced religious atmosphere can also inspire atheism. So I was wondering if you could comment on this, and is it just something very sentimental, or does it go quite deep, you know? Because with the scientists, they have all these theories and ideas which they can take shelter of, right, to support their atheism. But with this other group, it seems more to be driven just by like emotion.
Remember that verse in the 4th chapter that Krishna says about one have to transcend by knowledge. What is it? Anger, fear, and what was the other one? There was another one. There was 3. Attachment, anger, and fear. Right? By knowledge. That's what knowledge allows to become free. So then he explains that this fear comes from just the experiences that we have in this world that basically frustrates our attempts to connect. The fears of relationship, how relationships is putting let us down. Correct. Connections. Like, you know, our elders let us down. Society let us down. You know, that type of thing. We see how ideals is, you know, it's all, there's so much hypocrisy and inconsistency in everything. Religion is, my God, you know, we grow in a religious environment and we see that our religious leaders are doing these abominable things. So, you know, you put your heart into something and then you get crushed. And therefore that leads us to anger. And that leads us to, they cannot be. This is all, you know, it's just about just myself, and let me just, you know, mind your business and mind my business, and let's, you know, be good with each other, you know, civilize. That's the whole thing. So, so in one sense we can understand why. And I know my spiritual master tells me, he repeats this very much, that it's all about relationships. So we show an alternative to a relationship that is centered in like the relationship that is God-centered relationships. But when we deal with people, then is with a sense of both respect and also service, and the service attitude that we cultivate is taking the motivation, the personal motivation, what is for me, but it's actually as an offering to Guru and Krishna. So it takes away that element that sort of spoils the whole. When there is our personal motivation, that is what spoiled things. Is that when you add sand to the sweet rice, you know, that at the end you can fully enjoy it. It's impossible. So at the end, it's all about relationship when we deal with people. And if we deal with people with respect and with that mood of selfless service, then it's something that touches people. We know that. We receive that ourselves. That's why we're here. Someone touches us because we were in the same boat. Most of us, were in the same space. And we were touched by that sort of, by a devotee or devotees who were, presenting something that we didn't experience before. So we start with that. So the first thing that creates Shraddha is this contact with a devotee, and so we approach it from the perspective of relationship, and the relationship have to be based on trust, and on service and respect. We have to respect people. If we just come to anyone and just like blast them with a philosophy, don't be a Buddha, like that, then it's disrespectful. We have to respect where people are at. So devotees are thoughtful and very, very tuned in. We pray and for the intelligence, and they will work to develop that intelligence to be able to understand how to deal with different type of people. I always remember lesson from His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, how expert he was in presenting the philosophy to all kinds of people. And he was teaching us about how to distribute books and to present the philosophy, how to deal. So I remember in this sort of darshan that we have with him, I raised the questions because he used to come to New York, and then he used to tell us, encourage us with the Harinam that we had, that he only comes to New York to be with the Harinam. So of course, he was encouraging us. And so he would come and spend time with us. And when one of those occasions, we have this nice book table. So I'm in the book table, and there I am, in this busy street in Manhattan, nice presentation, and then many people coming to the books, and I am spending this long time with this a Christian person, and he he appears to be very open, that type, asking questions, and basically giving me all these different questions, and I philosophy and saying this and that, how this is this way and that way, the Bhagavad Gita and this, quoting my verses, and time is passing and passing and passing and passing and passing, and people are going, coming, passing, and we just talk with this guy because it was almost like putting fuel into my fire of enthusiasm, like that. And at the end, after half an hour of being with this guy, I answered all his questions. I thought I answered brilliantly, and he seems to be nodding and saying, I'm being interested. And at the end of the whole thing, he tells me, he puts up, hand in me and say, when you feel that this is all, is not going to do anything for you, you come to Christ. I will pray for you, basically, so you become free from all this, So basically, I just wasted my time. I was so upset with myself. So I asked Maharaj, what do you do? And then, Tamal Krishna Maharaj is known to be, like heavy. But, he was so highly expert. It's amazing. So he tells a story of how he dealt with such a case. He tells that one time flying from Europe to New York, he is sitting in an airplane. Next to him is a person who took upon himself the task of saving His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj. So he just started to, he said, this guy from the very beginning, he just went on to try to convert or save, or, Tamal Krishna Maharaj by, saying all these things about Jesus is the only way, what is he doing? And then Maharaj's approach was, he will look at him and say, Hallelujah! And then the guy will say, and Jesus, and then he say, Amen, and Jesus, yeah, oh, glories to Lord Jesus, and Jesus, and then, so he went like that, and Maharaj, the only thing that he says is, Hari, Jai, Amen, Hallelujah. And then eventually, the man just started to come down, and say, he was appreciating Maharaj, and then Maharaj asked him, do you want a sweet? And then he say, oh, sure, this is, we're having this nice conversation, and, I haven't have such a nice conversation with someone before. So the mind was like really taken by Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then accepted a Mahasweet from Maharaj, and then went on at the end of the trip, so happy and so like, this is such a wonderful person that I met, and this and that, and then he left. So, very tuned in on how to deal with different types of people. And at the end, the goal that we have is that people have a very, Maharaj says, the goal that we have to have is that people, after having a contact with us as representative of Srila Prabhupada, is that they say, these people are very nice. These are really, really good people. They have a good impression of ourselves. So when we're distributing books, when we're preaching, when we're connecting to people, our goal is to create that samskara. They're good. And the next time, at one point they're going to say, yeah, I met the Hare Krishnas. They're always very polite, very nice, respectful, good people. What are you guys about? At one point that will come out. So, in short, is we have to exercise. We have to develop that intelligence and exercise. That sense of being very respectful where people at, and understand everybody have their perfect. There's a perfect time for everybody, and we have to be respectful of that. We cannot push people. If you're trying to push someone, that's disrespectful. So we have to allow them to process in their own timing. And that's where our society is becoming more and more expert on, because we're thinking about it. Krishna is helping us. So, I don't know. It's 9:41. I know Jai Baladev has. If you're able to just ask the question, I know your comments are always nice and thoughtful, sometimes a little long. just then we do this Karuna Nidhi, and that's it. Just keep it tight.
I was thinking that you said very nice point, the relationship about you said respect and selfless service. So, yeah, selfless services. So the thing is that sometimes the other party will think, what is the motivation? So why he is doing like this? So don't you think that so that means it will not affect the relationship?
The motivation?
Yeah.
The motivation hurt the relationship? Yeah, if we have, it could. I mean, it depends. But when we have motivations, that the reality is that we all have motivations. That's why, we're not pure devotees. So, but the whole idea of becoming purified is that purifying that motivation, we have to come to the stage of a haitukiya pratiyata. And then that's what we're moving towards as a goal. But while we have motivations, then we have to become aware of them and understand that we can recognize our motivations when we become frustrated or we become upset about something. That means that our motivation is not properly fulfilled. So it's personal motivation. So like that. So it's possible. I'm going to stop here. Sorry about that. I know. Karantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.